Hey guys, I'm Morthadon and we are back for Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon Season 3, Episode 1. We're finally on Season 3. But first order of business, since this is the start of a new season, I want to say a few things. First off, the big thing is, yes, I shaved. No more goatee, and formerly no more big beard that I had a long time, not a long time ago, but a little bit ago. I decided I wanted to participate in No Shave November, so I figured, I don't think it looks good when it starts filling in while I have the goatee. So I figured, today is, Today is I guess at the time of recording this, it's the first day of November. The 31st is when I shaved. Actually, no, I'm an idiot. No, okay. It's not past midnight yet. It's almost midnight. Okay, so today is the 1st. I'm losing track of my days. Anyway, I'm recording this on the 1st. I shaved on the, I shaved yesterday, so the 31st. So we are going to see how this progresses as I go through the month of No Shave November. So, anyway, with that out of the way, I am looking forward to Season 3. We had a little bit of a cliffhanger from Season 2 where some, girl or whatever came out of the wall of the dungeon and didn't seem to know who she was. But that's interesting. I want to know more. I am watching this in subbed. I don't watch it in dubbed, just so you guys know. And I also, the way I do my videos, if you happen to be new, is I do timer based, so you guys are going to have the footage. You're going to have to sync with me. I will have a timer on the screen and do a countdown for you guys, and I'll also have a little bit of footage to help you guys sync up with that as well, if the timer doesn't get it perfect, So yeah, I'm just looking forward to this. I think that's everything out of the way, so let's jump into Season 3. Alrighty guys, we're going to start here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Alright. Even before the gods descended. Whoa. Okay. I was also told not to watch the opening, so I'm not going to watch the opening. Belle! Wow, so Belle is already here. Face to face. What? Alright. Jeez! Is that like a phoenix or something? Of course. Belle the Protector. The monster was trying to kill the girl too, wasn't it? So the adventures. God, I don't even know how to say that. Beaver? Covered her up, nice. Not that it was too hard to guess, but I guessed when we first saw her, I was like, oh, another girl for Belle to save. Although she's a monster, I don't know. I mean, she obviously looks like a girl, so I'm gonna say she. So they know what this kind of monster is, so there's... I don't... never mind. Uh-oh. A monster fetishist. She speaks. Hmm. Interesting. So they set up that premise of like humans hate monsters no matter what, and that can't change, you know, for this kind of conflict here. Damn, gonna take her all the way out of the dungeon. Alright. Oh. Okay, so they're where? I love how he considers it Hermes' favorite. Hmm. Become their hope. Some crazy nails she's got there. Alright. Hmm. So normally this species doesn't talk, but they must all look like that because they all knew what it was immediately. Hmm. There's not many like real like humanoid, looking monsters that we've seen anyway. Except for the ones in Sword Oratoria series. Pretentious. Wiene. Well, we did have the ones that the Loki Familia went up against, or at least eyes, mainly. Alright. So basically, ask around, but don't make it sound like they're keeping one secret. Hmm. Spooky. Hmm. I kind of like that though, because if monsters don't typically wear clothes, they definitely feel weird wearing them, right? You know? Just like we feel weird not wearing clothes, at least in public, obviously, because you're not supposed to. Is this, is this Lily transformed? Jeez. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, she doesn't even know. I don't ever want someone sniffing me. Alright, I'm pretty sure that's Lily, right? I think it was the same voice. How? She's like, oh. Poor Haruhime. Just wanted to get some head pats in. Why don't they get her an actual outfit instead of just like a cloak? Oops. She definitely didn't mean to. Oh. I wonder if they can clip her nails. Or are they like an extension of her body, you know? Nice. It's a good response from Belle, because he knew that she didn't mean to, you know? In other shows, Belle would have, like, retaliated, you know? Oh, shit. Oh, someone saw. Who was it, though? Just every time Hestia shows up, you just have to get a screen full of her boobs. But yeah, like, one of the things I was saying is, you know how like the nails of dogs, you can't cut off too much or it'll start bleeding a lot, you know? I wonder if her nails are like that, you know? Or can she trim them down? Makoto. I mean, I think everybody should be wary of her, you know, but of course. Bath episode, episode 1. The lily is so salty. And throw away. They're also like smug about it. Oh, they can cut her nails! Nice! I like how it was Welf doing it, the blacksmith. No, she hates you. She's jealous. Hurry, man. As do I. Belle's like, I love Belle too. Alright. I thought she had no pants on at first, but it was just the color of her nightgown or whatever it's called. Yep. Not for all the gods. Obviously, Oranos knows more. No boundaries between family. It looked like that bed was plenty big enough. Hmm. I wonder if those are memories or like if monsters have something of like a hive mind, so she sees what some other monsters do. Or it could just be a dream. Maybe it's like instincts of like what she's supposed to be like, but she's not. Oh. Okay. Ornos. Ecolos family. Familia. Oh. Okay, I don't know if that's the end of episode 1 though. But I don't know, sometimes I'm minimizing. I'm not watching whatever this is. It's still playing, but I don't know if this, sometimes on the first episode, since we didn't have an opening, sometimes they play the opening at the end of the episode, and then next episode we'll have it at the beginning. It seemed, from the beginning, I just saw, like, Belle and Hestia standing together. It seemed like it was a typical ending where it's not really any spoilers, but, just in case that was just, like, the start of it, I did minimize it, because I don't want to be too spoiled, you know. I did end up watching season 2s and got a little spoiled by that stuff, so. It also sounds like an ending song. Usually ending songs are a bit more mellow and stuff, so. I figured I hate myself shaved. Like, I'm getting more used to it, but, oh, my, like, little fat chin. I I hate it. Alright, sounds like it's over. Yeah, okay. That's just the next time stuff. Alrighty, guys, so that is the end, officially the end of episode 1 now. That was a good episode. It really, like, in this show's fashion, it does a good job of typically beating around the bush at things. Like, we knew from the end of last season that this girl was going to play a part, so I thought we were going to get, like, a whole, like, you know, maybe not really a recap episode, I didn't think that, but I was thinking, like, kind of like a reintroduction of the world, in a sense, and have, like, Belle in the dungeon and stuff, and maybe he'd run into her this episode, or maybe next episode, you know? But no, just immediately we start off with it, so that's really cool. And so she is a monster, and she's of a certain species, yet she can talk, but apparently the other species, like, of the same species never has. So that's interesting. I also find it really interesting that there is this, like, humanoid-esque, because, you know, like I mentioned during the reaction, the closest we've seen is, like, the snaky kind of girl from Sword Oratoria, where Eyes kept fighting her multiple times. She was, like, eating the crystals of other monsters in order to power up and stuff like that. See, I wasn't sure if she was an adventurer that got corrupted like the other guy. There was, like, that one, like, cult leader guy that got a bunch of adventurers killed in that series, you know, and then he came back as, like, it seemed like he had, like, plant inside him, you know, like, plant shit inside him. I don't know if she is like that, or if she's just an adventurer that, like, started eating that shit and went bad, but her eyes were different. I don't know if she was brought back like that guy was, you know, but maybe we're getting into a storyline to learn more about these, like, sentient monsters, you know, so maybe those are just different kinds of monsters, you know, that are sentient. And they obviously talked in Sword Oratoria, but this is the first time, you know, Belle is really dealing with that kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool. I like Wiene so far. She's, you know, definitely like I don't know how old she is, because for one, she has kind of like elfish ears, you know. I don't know anything. I don't know if that, like, Vivine or whatever it's called race. I don't know how the hell you say that name. I don't know if that race is an actual thing in, like, fantasy lore, you know, like, you know how, like, dryads and minotaurs and stuff like that we've seen in this show. Well, I don't think we've seen dryads, but, like, we've seen minotaurs, which are definitely part of other lores, you know. We've seen elves, which are part of other lores. I don't know if this monster is a part of another lore. I've never heard of it before. But, so I don't know if it's, like, long-lived. So she could look like this, but she could be 500 years old, you know? And that might be one of the things where, like, these dreams that she's having could be from adventures she killed, like, 300 years ago. And now, for some reason, she like, lost her memories and stuff like that. But that little beginning bit right at the start where they talked about how before the gods descended on the world, these monsters seemed to have existed. They were an enemy of humans, you know? And it's interesting how they're setting up this debate of, like, how even sentient monsters that might not mean any harm are being locked away in the dungeon and can't come to the surface, you know? Now, we've had, like, it's gonna be really cool having a season about the dungeon again, because the first season was about the dungeon, but it was really about, like, learning Belle's character in the early floors of the dungeon and his struggles. And then Sword Oratoria, we got into, like, the depths of the dungeon, and it kind of teased us on some of the stuff that's down there, like Orno, like, I guess they mentioned there's something, like, way deep down there that's, like, really bad, you know? It's some, like, corrupted spirit or something, you know? And the one that they killed in Sword Oratoria was just, like, a fragment of it, like, an extension of it. So that means that that powerful thing that was casting all those epic level spells that Aiza's group took out was just a piece of the power that's living down there. And we also have those other sentient things down there. It kind of really teased the idea. And we also had Hermes at one point talking about the dungeon and saying how the dungeon itself is angry that the gods have trapped it in that one area, which makes me think that, like, because the gods have, kept the monsters trapped in the dungeon area and not as much on the surface. We learned from the movie that there are some on the surface, just not as many. It's really interesting. It makes me wonder if the dungeon is kind of like alive, and especially how like the monsters seem to like birth out of the walls and then it like seals itself up. It makes me think of some like great ancient being, like the entire dungeon is. But if we're going to learn more about that kind of stuff, that's going to be really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. And in the way Ornos said that we'll let this, like, they knew that Belle was leaving the dungeon with a monster, yet they let it happen because he said, we'll see if it's their savior. Which makes me think that maybe there's a whole, like, I don't want to say there's a whole civilization down there because that might be a little much, but maybe there are some sentient creatures that either hurt people out, like only hurt people out of self-defense, or are kind of being oppressed by the adventurers and they're like trapped in this dungeon and they really, like, in a way did nothing wrong. It's just this, age-old tradition of human fights monsters, and that's it. Kind of like how everyone had their reaction here, even Belle's party, except for Belle, all jumped on, like, we should just kill her. Obviously, once she started talking, they started reconsidering and stuff like that, but their, like, initial instinct is to kill, It's, like, ingrained in their DNA almost. And, I mean, it's interesting because even, I think it was Makoto that said it later on in the episode. They're like, how do you feel about this? And she's like, I feel this, like, anxiety, like, deep within. So it's almost like this, like, internal thing that's, like, pushing them to kill these monsters, I don't know. It's interesting. It's really interesting. I'm looking forward to the what this show will bring, because obviously we had, and then when I was going over all the season stuff last season, we really shied away from the dungeon stuff, which I was a little disappointed with, but I really liked the Haruhime storyline, so I was okay with it, but we really got, like, last season we really delved into, like, the different gods and kind of, like, their places in Orario and stuff like that, and their different, like, urges and everything. Like, we kind of shined a better light on Hermes. Like, I feel like we've always seen him kind of doing messenger stuff, but I think it really clicked to me last season that he is just, like, the god's messenger. Like, he just goes around all the gods doing, like, different stuff, and which fits. Hermes actually did that kind of stuff in Greek mythology, so I thought that was pretty cool. And we obviously learned more about, wow, how can I already forget? I have one, I'm trying to, was it Ishtar? I don't know why, but when I first tried to think about, I think it's Ishtar familia, right? When I first tried to think of that, the Amazons, my first thought was Ikalgo. I kept thinking that. I don't know why. It's the name from a character in Hunter x Hunter. I don't know why. I guess it just started with an I. and then I couldn't get that name out of my head and I couldn't think of anything else. I'm pretty sure it's Ishtar familia. We had that whole bit and learning kind of like how she is another, like, I don't know, like, I don't know what to consider it. I don't know the actual words, but she's a goddess like Circe is, like, like, of attraction. They seem to pride themselves on people being attracted to them, and when people were more attracted to Circe than Ishtar, she was pissed, and stuff like that. So, and we got to learn that like so many different things in last season, basically, before I go on too much of a rant. But it was all that had nothing really to do with the dungeon, right? They went to the dungeon like twice that we saw, and that was it. And one of them was just for them to get captured and taken away. So, anyway. Yeah, I mean, I'm really like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this other familia. I already forget the name. Apologies for that. The one that Hermes mentioned. Oh, shoot. I kind of want to know it, too. I should probably know it. Because that's going to be obviously something important. It might be the next, or like, something. Wait, is Hermes talking? This tour. Okay, here it is. Actually, there was one line right before he said this shit. Shoot, I keep missing it because I'm trying to. I'm sorry, guys. I keep trying to skip past the part. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's what I missed. It's not a big deal. Okay. They talked about, I missed this line here where it said, so you've all figured out, Hermes said, so you've all figured out the destination of the smuggled monsters, I take it. So, someone's smuggling monsters. Okay. I just, I was confused because I missed that line, and then the next line after was like, they're all in the basement. I want to make sure it wasn't like, you know, other sentient things, and I'm like, oh, okay, so, like, there's other, like, adventures with other sentient monsters right now. But they said in the basement of a mansion belonging to a noble Illyrian family. Okay. We found them chained up. Alright. And then they talk about the elven kid, yada yada. I just want to see the scene where he says the name of the word of the client is absolute. All we can do is collect information. Yes, and then he mentions that Ornos sent them a heap of trouble. But then he mentions another familia, the Ikelos. You know what? That's probably why I was getting Icalgo stuck in my head, was because it's the Ikelos familia. Okay. We haven't heard that before. So that'll be interesting to learn more about. It showed like Wiene too, right there when he said that familia name. So I don't know. I don't think that would. I don't know how she'd have a tie to a familia, but unless there's a familia deep in the dungeon. I mean, I guess Hades was part of Greek mythology, wasn't he? And I would think the best place for Hades would be deep in the dungeon, you know? So what if Hades has, like, a familia of monsters? I don't know. It was just a silly thought. I think I thought about it one other time, but I never said it out loud. Anyway. Alright, well, that was a great episode. I'm really looking forward to all these implications that they've set up and what's going to happen next. I'm probably going to be watching one more episode tonight, guys. I'm still trying to play catch-up. I was looking today. There are 4 episodes out. By the time I get these 4 episodes out to you guys, the 5th one will probably be out. So by not this coming weekend, but, well, I guess by the time you're seeing this. By the time you're seeing this, sorry, it's hard with me recording than the time that I release it. By next weekend, I should be caught up to the airing, which will be great. That'll be exciting, so I can watch it week to week with you guys. So, yeah, I'll be watching the next episode right now, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you guys check out my Patreon, where you can see some of these ahead, at least until I catch up, and then I will be having the airing coming out week to week. So it won't be early then. But I have early access for my other shows as well. I also have Patreon exclusives where you can see things like Soul Eater I'm watching on there that won't be on YouTube for a while. The Boys I'm watching on there, won't be on YouTube for a little bit. And The Boys is almost ending, so I will be replacing that with something else for another Patreon exclusive. So if you're interested in unique content from me that isn't on my YouTube, check that out. And I also have my rewatches for season 1 of Is Everyone Trying to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, as well as Sword Oratoria. I did a rewatch of that and kind of went through it again because it had been a long time since I saw it and I forgot a lot of things. So you can find that on my Patreon as well, not on my YouTube. But you can also subscribe to my YouTube if you want to do something to support me for free. I very much appreciate it. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in my future reactions. Bye-bye.